G'day, welcome to part 8 of my All Countries Mode playthrough of Corp. So, sorry, when we last left off we had Brazil as our goal, but I forgot that if I save and quit, it will change my goal. So, no longer Brazil. So that is a real cheeky spoiler there. So hopefully it does appear sometime in this one, because the longer it takes us to get it on the board, the more expensive all those flights are going to be. So the question is, do we actually just manufacture it? And I'm going to say 2 million and not get 6 minutes extra. That's a tough sell. Who was complaining just then? So I guess that's suggesting there might be a bit more of a surge to some of these places. Now at this point, it would be a better deal. Alright, let's slow down. Why is New Delhi? Right, that'll do it. Okay, so let's get a second plane. Peshawar, and let's get a third plane in there because it's probably more important that we don't have Delhi collapse. Or just 4 planes on that. Peshawar out. But I mean, Delhi's a pretty good model of efficiency, so I can imagine that they're Now let's just double check where Benin is. Because I don't really, with Africa, I'm not too sure what my countries are that do have my major connecting routes. So we will get to double check that every time one comes up. And we'll give these guys their super efficient fast jets. Check how Delhi's going. That's definitely on the decline now too. Obviously, I could upgrade New Delhi, but I don't want to be warned like that without a backup plan in the future. If something else starts to crack and Delhi starts to buckle under the weight of the amount of planes moving through it, I want to be able to just say it will expand as opposed to sort of losing, I guess. So if we don't have to upgrade it, good. I think Paris is the only city that we have no safety net like that. I think it's only Paris. Okay, so Mozambique. Yeah, last part of the continent of Africa down the bottom. Just the island of Madagascar will be left. Okay, so we've got a couple of cities in here. Slow things down a little bit. Make sure I haven't missed any other ones. So apart from South America, we really are cleaning up a lot of the map. I think all of Europe's now finished. Tajikistan, is that how we pronounce it? It's the only section of... What do we consider this? Is that still Eastern Europe? Or is that Central Asia? Subcontinent? Not sure what you actually consider that part. Do we want to take the decreased passengers, or do we want to reduce the ticket prices? We'll reduce the ticket prices, I think. We can cope with the amount of passengers in our system. Okay, so still it's sort of working out alright that, again, as we hit our 10-minute mark with our newly purchased countries, we are sort of another few million above where we were when we sort of upped it by another 2 countries. I know. I do feel bad about not bringing in Brazil just yet. It's definitely a... So with this one, yeah, I'm just gonna... Was it Minneapolis? I'm just gonna make Minneapolis a level 3 airport. Again, I wish that the game could just give me the option that I could say, just change everything to be a level 3 airport. I got no issues. I don't think that would be that expensive. Or even if it told me what that would cost, I could make the call on it. Gladly do it. Okay, so let's get Mozambique going. Luckily, it's got a nice close capital to Botswana. Try and gauge how easy it would be to cross this border. So I went to Kruger National Park, which is I think about here, and you can see that in the national park, it actually bordered Mozambique, and there were paths that went into Mozambique. And I thought, well, does that mean I can easily go to Mozambique and just sort of almost just tick it off as a country I've been to, cross the border for an hour or two, come back? But no, everyone I spoke to sounded like some of them had never been to Mozambique, even though they lived right there. And they suggested that actually would take a while, more time than I really had, which I think did sort of surprise me a little bit. Alright. That going, and then Japan. So let's bring Japan in before we sort of take our break, because I feel like this will be one that we'll get a few cities in, and a fair bit of traffic too as well. So we'll go Tokyo to Beijing, and we'll go Tokyo to Wuhan. I don't think we need to connect it to Hangzhou as well. I think just the two will suit us. I'll wait to see if we need to put more planes on that route. Okay, so our opening new routes is going to be more expensive, so certainly we'll just try and sit on our hands for the next 6 minutes. Whether we even do that, just wait on Goya. Depends on how fast, I guess, it's building people. I think we could make it. I mean, the cost difference, I suppose, between how much it would cost 12,000 to do that, or possibly, what, 6,000 if we're not, the routes aren't as expensive, or pay $200 to upgrade it to a level 2. So I reckon that we're going to see how we go. Osaka. I can imagine this will get busier quicker. Starting to sweat on it. One tricky thing is if you are actually paying attention to a city like I am here, it actually won't focus it into view. It'll just start beeping at you because you're already looking at it. So you can get... You find that you have to be sort of really paying attention to why you've clicked on a city. Yeah, he'll be fine from there, I'd say that. I know Bamako is one of my key cities, but I don't know when... I can't imagine Namei is too. Let's find out. So we saved $4,000 by waiting on it, and instead just paid $200 to upgrade the airport. So I think that probably was worthwhile. Where were we? What did it say? Somewhere in here. I mean, I suppose the jets all sort of look similar to my planes too. There he is. Anyway, so it's got a Niger. Now, that does mean that, like, there's 2 planes on that route too. So, I mean, that other plane's probably not going to be needed, but it'd be neat if I actually got to choose where those planes went. Certainly there's more pressing routes than that one. Paris to Washington I'd probably choose. Now we can see that we are getting traffic building up in Beijing a little bit. Tokyo does need to be big enough that it can handle the load of people coming through. There we go. So those two are at least cleaning it up for now. Japan I have never been to, but it is next up on my list. I reckon, might have said that before, Tokyo and Osaka as a nice short little trip. I think is would be on the cards. Anything you recommended, either Tokyo or Osaka, particularly food? Alright, so this could get messy. Work out where that is in Africa. Because I don't know. hope that's in Africa as well. As I have just disrespected another nation. But this is why I love to hear the stories, why I love to play games like this. Nothing wrong in not knowing something, as long as you're open to learn. Is it? I mean, I would, even if I could just see the arrows. Alright, who is putting stress on you there? Well, whoever it was, they came and collected everyone, so... There we are. Okay. That's who our priority one is. So... that is going to create a lot of traffic in this, this rundown. So let's get a second plane on that route. Obviously, a lot of people are going to come through Jakarta too. Get down there. So this is certainly a lot busier of a spot than my sort of design is to handle. So I assume that that means that we need a second, or we've got 4 planes on that route. Maybe we just need Bangkok to be a bigger city. Your airport. Okay, so we're up to 20 million now. But what we're going to be doing is adding another city on Jakarta. That's a small one. Port Douglas? Port Moresby. It's Port Douglas. I think it's in Australia. So probably... imagine going all the way to Beijing for the airport. Seems like a lot of effort. The amount of visas at work I had to do to get into Beijing or into China. It'd have to be a pretty good airport. And Jakarta is being saved by a single plane arriving, so we'll just make sure we can up that. Ooh, alright, cool. Let's finish off the stands. Now you sit really in the middle of everywhere, so let's send you this way. Trinidad and Tobago. Nice tiny little one. Just there. A lot of places complaining about being almost full. So I assume that's... wow, that is a lot of people heading south, so... let's try and up the efficiency of this route. If they're getting to there without too much complaint, that's a good sign that the efficiency north of this is pretty good. So we'll just try and improve the efficiency of this one route. And I mean, that's a moderately long one too, so... it's fine that it's... to have, say, the 5 planes on it, so it's not really ever going to be a problem, hopefully, again. Worst case, if it is, what we might have to do is just make one of, say, Zambia, another checkpoint in between, because there's nothing else really in there. Hopefully that is going down now. We do still have some room to move with the size of this airport, but... well, I mean, there's 24 seconds left, and then after that it should continue to decrease. They are nicely spread on that line, so hopefully we're okay. In Togo. So in here. So a place that was already struggling with Mebane is now going to have a second one. Choking it too. Try and keep an eye on the plane that's partners with this one. Let's get the 2. I don't think... hopefully we shouldn't need much more than that. Lagos is a pretty prominent route there too, so it's a better plane. I mean, it held pretty well. Obviously, we did send a lot of planes down to it. Eventually, it was going to buckle. Probably do want Dubai connected to something. These ones here are starting to struggle too. But again, that is just with all of that extra traffic coming down. So let's get another plane that route. We might try for a third too. Just wait till we've got a bit more space on the other guys. I think it's a bit rough to expect them to have handled that back-to-back 2 major ones in a row. Thank you. Guagra. Again, this would be one that I don't really know where it is in the world, but based on the sound of that G when I say it, I feel like it's Central America, right? Boom. Full and educated guess. $80. And there we go. So we've held it off for... It probably means we're going to have a little bit more time to work out the kinks of it. Here we go, Brazil. Now I suppose that capital is pretty nicely located in central Brazil. And I've also got to be careful because what I've done is I've just given it one city to connect to. It means that suddenly everyone would be surging their Brazilian flights south. Obviously we don't really want that. Let's try and shore up our route from Venezuela. As we have planes cross over the Venezuelan border, we'll just add another one. And we do want to use the full 30 minutes here to make sure that Brazil and the rest of the world are going to be okay with possibly the sudden push of places heading south. Let's just make sure this line... So we will continue to make a few more, but we are just going to make sure that the ones that we've got are have 5 planes on them. Now I could connect this Central African point too, but I don't know that many people will end up getting here. If I just connect Nigeria or Mali, I feel like that's going to be enough. Tokyo, so I hope that Tokyo is well enough built already that that's not going to be a problem of having a surge of people go to Tokyo. Yeah, so this isn't too badly built. We are probably going to need a second plane on that route. It's now suddenly become a major connection. Let's get our 5th plane on there. Okay, then what we'll do is we will connect it to Mali. Beijing has suddenly started to feel the pinch. So what that means is that we need more planes on this Tokyo route. Just wait for him to get a bit more of a lead. Hate that. I realize it's helping me address a major problem that I currently have. But it's like, alright, 3, 2, 1, upgrade. Wait a second. Okay, 4 planes. Tokyo that way. And we will just make sure that Wuhan has also got a bit more of an ability to shift traffic because they are coming both directions. Definitely Beijing is the major one though. Sao Paulo is actually its major problem at the moment. I assume it's the biggest city. Although my knowledge of geography in Brazil isn't too great, I do know that when people were talking about different flights that they'd taken around the world, anytime that anyone talked about going through Brazil, they did always mention Sao Paulo. I can with confidence assume that that was it is a pretty major one. So we'll wait for this guy to get distance on him. Hey, me again. Now that has only just taken Beijing to a 10,000 population airport, so it wasn't really a big one prior to that anyway, so it's not too big a deal. Okay, we are down to the 20-minute mark there. Isn't too bad. Oh, dang it. I just put that guy right behind the other one. Okay. Let's make sure they've got some distance on him. That guy in. At least make him 1,000 for now. Majority of people are traveling to Sao Paulo. And let's get that last plane in there. Now, whether we make another point outside of Brazil, like another connecting flight out of Brazil, we could go via Madrid, but I feel like that this flight is so long already that we don't want Madrid having all of the traffic from Europe trying to get through it, that we're better off sort of having that broken up and getting to this point and taking this flight that's probably about half the distance of these flights. See how these guys are doing. Osaka is also... I suppose Osaka is just creating a backlog because they just can't get through the Tokyo people. So that's okay. We are getting some pretty long routes here in Brazil. Possibly it should have a second hub. But I don't know what's in the north in Brazil. And I mean, I assume it's the Amazon, right? Somewhere here as well would be good to have a hub. So possibly 2 more South American hubs. How big is this at the moment? Yeah, we'll stop it. Imagine that Osaka connection shouldn't be a problem for long. It was just that they probably cleared out those Tokyo flights and then suddenly just dumped a whole lot of Osaka flights on there. Alright, that's becoming a very long flight. Hopefully, I mean, again, I don't know what the population base of Brazil looks like at all. I mean, I assume that this is going to be a big country. And even somewhere like India, I have two focal point cities. It's just whether there's anything in the north that can play that role. Alright, so there's our 10-minute mark, so let's get the Solomon Islands in. I think that what we'll do is I don't know, do we make Papua New Guinea our outlier host out here for the little island nations? Might work. Hey, here's one close to home. Sure. Oh. Another Brazilian city on here. Now, Australia, I'll connect to both. So, I mean, those pretty expensive flights, though. Oh, did that the wrong way. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll wait for that to extend out. Then we'll hit our second one. Melbourne. There we go. Finally, I can fly the world. And we'll give the finest jets. Tripoli. The funny one that's suddenly feeling the surge. Be this route here. I mean, that's not even a full 600 seater, so let's give them 2. see, then it must be that... we go, Munich's back on the cards. Sydney. So that's fun fact about Australia, for those who aren't Australian. Sydney and Melbourne were obviously two of the biggest cities in Australia, even dating back to the 1800s rather. And when they were debating about what should be the capital of Australia, Sydney wanted to be Sydney, Melbourne wanted to be Melbourne. So what they did is they picked a small country town that sat in between the two. That's why Canberra became our capital. It'll split in the difference. Okay. Colombia. So I guess we've now declared Venezuela the hub of the north, so we'll connect him in there. Possibly even Panama will go through there. Places like this, just make sure that that plane is all the way upgraded. So, I mean, we can always upgrade these just once to give them a capacity of 200, and that should be fine too. Okay, so we do really want to sit and wait at this point for Laos. Like, we don't want to jump straight into this because we're paying for such long flights in Brazil at the moment. The cheaper the better, really. Let's check our market. 177,000. So I really should go back and see what I did pay for this route originally, because I am certain that surely it would have been much less than that. Totally missed what that announcement just was. But make sure that, firstly, we'll make sure that this plane's a little bit more built for capacity, and that one. Hopefully there's a divide between the two as well, that there are people coming to Dublin from both. I don't think there's... So the only other flight from Mali that would take you all the way up to Houston. I wonder if there's any value in putting one in the middle. Like, say, a Venezuela connection, or just leaving Venezuela as a... It's almost like a South American domestic connection. I do feel like I'm setting myself up to have some really long flight paths in South America. Alright, let's get Laos on here. $5 million for Laos, so we are definitely going to need to have that money go. Alright, so we've got another one, small one coming in Qatar. Oman, so we can finish off the Middle East. That'll be up here with Muscat. Recommends all first level airports. Costs us $25. Yeah, let's do it. Let's break the bank. Let's slow things down so we can get this guy sorted out. Alright, let's just sit back and make a bit more money. Now it is... I feel the good news is it doesn't seem like any city is really hitting a major struggle. I mean, that is fine, because that's just Dublin sort of fixing itself up. I think we've only got the one plane on that route, so let's sort of address that. That's because there's no harm in having the multiple planes on that sort of route. In fact, all of those people need to really move out of there. What's the hold up for New York there? Not sure where those people are dividing to for New York, whether they want to go to Paris or if they want to go to London. There must be Paris, because these sorry, it must be London, because these Paris flights aren't full. Ah. I mean, this put a bit more stress on London. But will ease. But I mean, like a lot of the stress here is just London itself. So once it clears all that off, should be a bit better off. That's not a full flight, not a full graded plane. So let's improve that. How are we doing in down here? Got another one. That is probably where I was talking about as a northern Brazilian city. But I mean, all these Brazilian cities are so spread out that it's hard to tell if there's going to be more up there. But even if the idea was that Venezuela connects to that, and that connects through so that I can have 10 planes covering this area as opposed to just the 5. But we will see how busy this sort of southern bush gets. It doesn't seem to have been too bad so far. Okay, so we've got a couple of extra cities in here. Let's get this one going. We're very close to Africa being finished here. It looks like three countries left. Guinea, Madagascar, and Lesotho. Has that changed its name recently? That's something else. Swaziland? Ethiopia. Good. Again, Ethiopia isn't a hub of any kind. Finally, someone that's actually close to the capital. Notice we haven't even got Rio yet. Thought that would have come in pretty quick. Where's Australia faring over here? Too bad. I mean, it's a city of only 100. Sorry, I mean, the real Canberra airport can probably only hold about 100 people, but it's alright. Strategically in this, the fact that it does sit between the other two major cities is good. If we get Perth, I might send Perth just straight into Jakarta. Everything on the east coast can come through Canberra. They're still coming, these Chinese cities. You can still see there's a fair few red planes operating on this route. But hopefully we do see a not red plane come out of here. This next one, no, they're still red. So it means it's not handling the amount more demand than supply. Alright, let's get the Dominican Republic in here. 6 million. Now starting to feel the burn. Vietnam. Oh, we've got an announcement coming up. Munich again. I really don't mind when they start to go nuts, pushing Oktoberfest on us again and again, because if anything, it's the one setup that I know is in place, because we've done it so many times. Okay, and then Vietnam. I actually might get Vietnam to go via Guangzhou here. Panama. Philippines. We'll give them just Bangkok too. I mean, Manila could possibly be a pretty busy city here though, so we'll might give them 2 planes, and anything else that's in the Philippines will connect through Manila because it's far enough away that we do want to make life a little bit easier, because otherwise Thailand might be too far for that. And I'd imagine that the majority of traffic would be in Manila. Fiji. Well, we might leave it there for our opening countries, because we're at half an hour, so we'll let another 20 minutes go while we just have sort of potentially more long flights or flights appear in routes. Now that doesn't mean that there's a fair bit of a route to go. If you want to go from Ho Chi Minh to Hanoi, you've got to go Bangkok to Guangzhou to Hanoi. But That's okay. All right, and I would say that calls it for an end of this one. And maybe what we'll do is we'll up Atlanta. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below. But until next time, catch you later. See ya.